Hi, I'm Julie Hassan, and you're watching Everyday Dish TV. Today we're making rosemary garlic crackers. Now, gourmet crackers can be really pricey to buy at the store. I don't know, $5 or $6 sometimes for a small bag. But you can make them at home for pennies, and they're so much fun to do, and they don't take much time at all. So I'm really excited to be able to show you how to make them. To begin with, for the crackers, we need flour. Now, in this bowl, I have 2 cups of unbleached all-purpose flour. You can use half unbleached all-purpose flour, sorry, this is a tongue twister, and half whole wheat pastry flour if you want to make a, more of a whole grain cracker. It works really well. I do it both ways where I do all-purpose, half and half. It works great, really depends on your mood. So, for these purposes, we're using all unbleached. Then to that, we're adding nutritional yeast flakes. Don't worry about the recipe, it's on the website. We have dried rosemary, which I have pulsed in a spice grinder, or you could use a mortar and pestle. I do like a little bit of pieces left in it. It doesn't have to be finely ground. I don't know if you can see that, but beautiful. So we're gonna sprinkle that in. We also have some fine sea salt. I like the stuff that's fine because it dissolves better. I have a little bit of ground pepper. So you can put that in a spice mill, your whole peppercorns, or just put it like, in a pepper mill and do that and measure it out. A little bit of baking powder and granulated garlic, one of my favorite ingredients. And that's obviously what gives it the garlic flavor. So as you can see, you can kind of play around with the flavors and spices a little bit. We're gonna mix this together. Ooh, look at that. Very cool. Okay. I mean, how simple is this? Crackers are really easy to make. Okay, water and a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. This really gives it some good flavor. So we could just add them in at the same time like that. Okay, we mix together. You don't even need a mixer for this one. You just simply mix it with a wooden spoon or whatever kind of spoon you have, your favorite spoon, and mix that together. And you get this nice shaggy dough. So at this point, when it's shaggy, you can just finish doing it, there we go, by hand. Look at that beautiful dough. I love making crackers from home. Anything that, you can do at home and customize yourself, the end product is so much better. They haven't been sitting on a store shelf for a long time. It's the way to go. Okay, here's our beautiful dough. I'm gonna kind of break that into 2 balls. They don't have to be perfectly even. I'll show you what I'm gonna do next. I have my baking sheet. Now I've lined it with the Silpat. You can use parchment, but I find the Silpat really made the best crackers. I tried it 3 different ways. So I recommend, if you have a Silpat, to use the Silpat. And if you don't have one, it's really cool to use. So you might wanna think about getting one actually. All right, you put your bowl right on it. You don't have to grease these Silpats, which are really nice. Here's the best part. You just roll it out right onto the cookie sheet. It takes a couple of minutes, but okay, that's that. You'll notice that I like to roll it really thin. I like my crackers with that nice crisp bite to them, so I like them on the thin side. But now that we finished this tray, we get working on the next one. There we go, we've got our last one rolled. Now I'll show you. So you can see it's nice and thin. Then what I do, I take some coarse sea salt. This is what it looks like. Ooh, it's a little gray. This stuff I bought at I forget what kind of market it was, like an international market. This stuff is from France. And you can see it kind of looks a little wet in the bag. That's what you want. There is some moisture to it. It's just a nice tasting salt, but you want it coarse like it is. Then I sprinkle, I don't know, maybe like a couple little fingerful. Not too much. You don't want these too salty, but it's nice to have that little crunch. Then I take that roller again, and I just press them into the top. So that way they will bake in there, but they will stay coarse like that. So you get an extra little crunch and that little salt. It's really nice. I mean, these would be really expensive crackers if you bought them in the store with the gray sea salt and the whole thing. So it's really fun to make these. Here we go, we've got that. And now what we do is we cut them. You can cut them with something like this, because on the Silpat, you don't want to use a knife because you'll cut through the silicone. So something like this can cut them. You can just score it. But if you have one of these little pastry wheels that you would use for making like pie crust, it's perfect. And they're not expensive. I think they're under $10 at cooking stores. Great thing to have. I've probably had this, I don't know, almost 20 years. So they last a long time too. Then what we do is just cut through. So depending on the size crackers you want, I want these to be sort of more bite size. You get this great scalloped edge on them. They look so fancy, but I guess they're about the size of wheat thins when I'm done on these. And another thing you could do too is if you didn't want to cut them, you could just bake the whole sheets, and then when they're done baking and they've cooled, you can break them into chunks. And that's fun too. That's another fun way to serve them. It's very rustic looking. But don't these look great? Look at these. Perfect, all right. Here I go, woo, a little faster. Now I'll start on the other sheet. And the last one right there. Perfect, look at these. They're so cool. I'm so excited. We have lots of crackers. Preheated oven, it's 400 degrees. You want to preheat it too? Make sure, there we go. I'm gonna put both sheets in the oven and they bake for about 15 minutes. So we'll check them in 15 and see if they're totally done. I think they're ready. Let's take a look. Oh yeah. Now, can you see this? That is what they look like when they're finished. If you find that some in the center are still a little too soft once you take them out, you can pull off the ones that are done and then put those back in for another few minutes, because although I say it takes 15 minutes, if you put both trays in, it could take 20, 25, and it depends on your oven. So there are some variables there with that. So you really have to go by how they look. But look at this, because on the Silpat, they literally just lift off and then they snap apart like that. And you get these great crackers. How cool. Okay, look. Ooh, how cool is this? You don't have to buy them. In fact, they'd make a great gift too. You could put them in a cello bag with a ribbon, take them somewhere as a hostess gift. You could also, if you put out, a nice platter with appetizers, homemade crackers. Anyways, go make crackers. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you next time. Till then.